I stand in my place today to speak to Bill 75, an act to amend the Electricity Act of 1998, to amalgamate the Independent Electricity System Operator and the Ontario Power Authority, to amend the Ontario Energy Board Act of 1998, and make complementary amendments to other acts. The Minister of Energy has put this bill forward on behalf of a government that's up to its neck in scandals. The latest scandal involves millions wasted on bad decisions in the Ministry of Energy. So, Mr. Speaker, you'll forgive me if I am extremely circumspect of this government's recommendations on how to fix any aspect of how government works, most particularly when it comes to energy. On its surface, the purpose of Bill 75 is to reduce the cost of operating two organizations by merging them. The Ontario Power Authority, or OPA, and the Independent Electricity System Operator, or IESO, are planned to be amalgamated. This move is supposed to save $25 million. It seems questionable whether this attempt to reduce costs is worthwhile at all. This merger does not reduce the number of employees or create significant savings anywhere. Who knows if we will end up saving any money? This government's budget forecasting leaves a lot to be desired. When the OPA was started 7 years ago, it had 15 employees. Today, the OPA employs 235 people, 87 of which earn over $100,000, and the CEO takes home $570,000. In 7 years, the OPA has spent $375 million with little to show for it. Expenses for this government agency have risen from $14 million in 2005 to over $76 million today. Originally, the government set up the OPA as a transitional body. If Bill 75 passes, this temporary measure will continue to haunt us for years to come. Instead of giving it new life with this proposed merger, the Ontario Power Authority should be scrapped. It does not give us value for money. It does not save us money, but only tries to find new ways of spending millions of new money from electricity ratepayers. The rates keep going up and up and up. Ontario's electricity production plan is a financial failure. The Green Energy Act's incentives for wind and solar power producers are outrageously expensive. The government pays up to 10 times the going rate for electricity to these producers. How could the government even ever propose such an irresponsible plan? It's totally unsustainable. We knew that from the start. Some estimates put the cost of this program at $80 billion over 20 years. What an irresponsible way to mortgage the future of Ontarians. The windmills popping up all over rural Ontario are unsightly, unwanted, inefficient, and unaffordable. Communities are forced to accept wind towers and solar panels that are an eyesore and are not wanted by local residents. Good farmland is lost to solar farms. There are even questions about the health implications of placing wind towers too close to homes. Ontario pays high subsidized prices up to 80 cents per kilowatt hour, which are unaffordable. The global adjustment charge on industrial hydro bills is to cover the increase in electricity costs resulting from the high cost of solar and wind power. This global adjustment charge is driving up the cost of electricity to the highest level in any state or province in North America. Businesses are leaving Ontario because of the high cost of electricity. People are losing their jobs. New businesses are choosing not to set up business in Ontario because of high electricity costs. We need to cancel the Green Energy Act. That will save us tens of billions of dollars over the next 20 years. Why doesn't the government's energy plan include buying electricity from Quebec? Hydroelectric power from James Bay is cheap, it's Canadian, it's affordable, and it's green. Why did the government plan to build electricity plants in Mississauga and Oakville? We didn't need them. We have a surplus of electricity that we sell to New York and Quebec at a loss every year. And now we are committed to building these plants at Lennox Power Station and in Lambton. What a waste of money. If you talk to people in the energy industry, they agree the urgent problem is not generation of electricity. We have a surplus. The problem is transmitting the electricity across our province. Right now, we have more than enough north-south lines. We need new transmission lines to go east and west. We need transmission lines to carry our electricity to the people who need it in the corners of our province. This is a problem that festers under this government. Now, taxpayers are stuck with the cost of cancelling Mississauga and Oakville electricity plants. The cost of this mistake is $650 million and growing. For what? For nothing. What a waste. A waste of taxpayer money. Billions and billions slip away through the government's fingers like water over Niagara Falls. But the word waste is all too familiar when we think of this government. Think Orange, $700 million. Think Presto, $500 million and growing. Think eHealth, $2 billion and nothing to show for it. What a waste. Mr. Speaker, this government has demonstrated a consistent inability to manage taxpayer money in a responsible and accountable manner. The blatant and massive waste of billions of taxpayer dollars has to stop. We are broke. We are heading for a $400 billion debt, and the government is unable to control the deficit. As a comparison, the state of California is $390 billion in debt. They have 33 million people. That works out to around $12,000 per person. To attack their debt, the state government reduced funding colleges and universities by 20% to save $500 million per year. San Diego shut down 8 of 48 fire engines for 2 years. They shut down libraries and community centers to half-time, staying open for 20 hours a week. California is reducing public pension plans. The list goes on. They're implementing many more spending reductions. They are doing something. And what are we doing here in Ontario? Nothing. We keep spending like everything's okay. Our Ontario debt is $20,000 per person and growing. Everything is not okay. We are following the road to Greece. We are spending too much money, and it has to stop. It will take a long time. It will be painful, but all Ontarians will have to shoulder the burden of this debt. Such is the price of bad government. Such is the cost of this government's irresponsible decision-making on our behalf. This bill does not change that. It does not turn over a new leaf. It's more of the same. Mr. Speaker, this bill will not solve our problem of big spending. It takes two organizations and puts them into one office and gives them a new name. An old product with a new name is not change. This bill will not reduce spending. We must vote no to this bill because it is ineffective, like this Liberal government. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank my colleagues from Algoma, Manitoulin, from Richmond Hill, from Perth, Wellington, and Temiskaming Cochrane for their comments. Pretty clearly, we've heard many people speak, and we're hearing again and again that this bill is very flawed. It's going to merge two hydro organizations with the idea that there would be efficiencies, economies, and savings of $25 million, and nobody believes that. We're dealing with a government that has a terrible track record from the point of view of accountability and oversight, a terrible record when it comes to managing money, and we have things like organizations like Orange, where corruption's happened, money was wasted, eHealth, Presto, etc., etc. And now here we have a bill where purposely and pointedly oversight and accountability has been removed. So we think of the history of this government and how they've managed our money in the public purse in the past, and they've been a terrible failure in the order of $500 million and billions of dollars. If there's one thing they're good at, it's big numbers and big waste of big money. So we see an organization that was supposed to be transitional, started out with a $14 million budget. It's blossomed to $76 million. They've grown from 15 employees to 235, and the money's getting spent like water. Clearly, Mr. Speaker, this bill is not going to do any good for the Ontario taxpayer. It's a dangerous piece of legislation because of the complete lack of accountability and oversight, and a government that has a propensity for wasting our tax dollars. We have to vote this bill down. Thank you.
Thank you.